Hi, it's Erik. It's time for a video conversation this week. The House passed my bill this week on a good bipartisan vote that helps employee ownership for startup companies, an issue that's been neglected for a long period of time that will now help entrepreneurs, inventors, and dreamers at startup companies, especially for lower-level employees that hope to have a stake in the company as it grows and prospers. Now the bill moves on to the Senate, and we're hopefully that this can be enacted before the end of the year into law. Time to get to the questions now, of course, and we've got the first up in an email that comes from David in Brooklyn Park. David says, "Dear Congressman Paulson, it seems like every day there's a news story in the news about a company having their information stolen by hackers. This puts both businesses and the public at risk when they have their private information accessed. Worse is that many small businesses struggle to gain access to information and resources to help protect themselves. Please do all you can to make cybersecurity a priority. Thanks, David." Actually, David, thanks for sharing your concern about that. The fact of the matter is that the United States is the victim of over 1 million cyber attacks each and every day, costing our economy about $100 billion. This week, the House did pass legislation that helps small businesses in particular by directing the Small Business Development Center to develop a very comprehensive cybersecurity strategy, focusing on best practices that can be disseminated to small businesses through security infrastructure, through technical assistance, and most importantly, by also training employees. Next up is an email that we got in from Lori in Minnetonka, who writes in, "Dear Representative Paulson, I'm writing to you as a constituent and a professional in the field of psychology to ask you and urge you to support H.R. 5963, the Supporting Youth Opportunity and Preventing Delinquency Act, when it comes up for a vote on the House floor this Tuesday. The bipartisan bill, which is sponsored by Representatives Curbelo and Scott, would make an important, cost-effective reforms in the federal investment to the nation's juvenile justice system. Once more, I ask and urge you to support H.R. 5963. Sincerely, Lori." Actually, Lori, thanks for sharing me your thoughts about that issue. The good news is that is bipartisan legislation that also had action taken on Tuesday. I did support it. We all know that too many of our young juveniles that have been caught up in the juvenile justice system have not had proper treatment. We have not tried appropriate education system to make sure they stay out of the criminal justice system. What this legislation does in particular is remain focused on education and rehabilitation through a couple of initiatives. One, it'll limit the placement of juveniles in jails where there are adults. Secondly, it'll require a greater use of evidence-based programs. And finally, it'll expand services from those young people who suffer from mental illnesses or from who are sexual assault survivors. And those reforms are going to help us better identify the situations for individuals at young ages so that they can get back out of the juvenile justice system into the workforce, and with those services, they can become productive members of society again. Thanks for joining the conversation this week. Continue to please stay in touch with your thoughts, your questions, your ideas. You can reach me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. As always, have a good weekend and a great week.